Yo, yes, guys, it's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV Live. You know where it is. We're here doing a live talk, Fight Fan TV live talk. Um, just a one of plucked out of thin air. Just thought let's go live. Um, to do some content, do some till we have a talk. Got some free time. Got a spare hour, I believe. Let me check my phone. Yeah, got a spare hour before I've got to go and have a nap before I do a bit of a late one um, work shift. So yeah, let's just have a discussion. Hope everyone's all right. Hope everyone's blessed. How's everyone doing? I see Vibes Cartel last night was back in Birmingham. I was there in the O2 Arena one recently when he did the Friday one because he did the Thursday and he did the Friday one. Those of you might have seen, me up front center, come on, the set. But yeah, big concert. Then he went out to Malta for a few days. He did Manchester just before that. So yeah, World Boss is he's really doing bits, man. Dancehall, we're back on top. Afrobeats had their thing for they had a good little 5 year run, but we're back in full ascendancy now. But yeah, hope everyone's blessed, and yeah, let's get onto some topics as of late. Um, the latest and greatest. Get in the comment section, get interactive. Those watching on the playback also get in the comment section, share with your people, get interactive. Um, I'm gonna try and get so I had an interesting uh, four-way call last night on WhatsApp on a subject matter, and I think it'll be really good to try and get these guys to have this discussion and debate on the live online with me. And also, I've got another discussion and debate I want to have with a certain individual. Well, with my boy Tony Pugilist on certain things, on a certain subject matter, which I'll let you know. So the subject matter is because I said, and I have been saying that I believe that Canelo Alvarez is the greatest Mexican fighter of all time now. I believe he has now surpassed um, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., um, is a great champion, and he held that title as the greatest Mexican fighter for a while now, a very long time. But like everything, that does and should come to an end at some point. Somebody has to ascend that. But what I do find is a lot of the older crowd, um, and even some of those my age, they go along to get along and to try and sound intelligent, and they just say names that to make themselves sound cool and sound well informed and sound well versed. Like they'll say, "Oh, great fighter," or they'll just shout Sugar Ray Robinson. Then you ask them, "Which Sugar Ray Robinson fights have you watched?" There's not much footage online of him, so you can't even really get a good gauge of how great he was if you're saying that greatest fighter of all time, but there's not much footage of him on YouTube or anywhere. So people just say it because it sounds cool and they heard someone else say it, but you're not really doing that from your own assessment. And they like to always try and say that the old fighters would always beat the new fighters. The new fighters will never beat the old fighters, which is disingenuous because every other sport, when you talk about athletics, golf, Formula One, tennis, there's always someone who eclipses the legend of the past, and it's fine football, but in boxing, they always act like it can't be done. Like the 70s and 80s, no one beats any of those fighters like that. Period. That period is just like no one beats it. Like, come on, it's not. You're not being genuine. Um, and when I do start stacking up the resume for resume, um, and you watch them fight. If we'll get in my opinion, if Canelo and Julio Cesar Chavez was to fight, Canelo would win. if you look at the resume, you know, I'll break it down more when I get Tony on. Um, but yeah, do some research for yourself, guys. It's not hard. Just go on BoxRec if you need, um, and watch some fights of each. You know, um, but you probably watch Canelo fights. So go and watch some Julio Cesar Chavez fights. Great fighter, but no, he's been eclipsed, and that's fine. It happens. But yeah, let's get into some boxing topics. So first off, I'll start with I've just heard that Alicia Baumgardner has now vacated her WBC um, super featherweight title. She Whether she's going to vacate the rest, I don't know. Um, it's a bit interesting that she's doing that. I heard she's jumping up to lightweight now, which that's cool. It's about time. She has been at that weight for a while now. But it's interesting that the Turkish girl, Elif Nur Turhan, she's in that weight class. Um, and she's a big knockout puncher, power puncher, and that was a fight I would have liked to have seen. But we're not gonna see that now, unfortunately. Uh, Hold on, Elif Nur Turhan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she definitely is. Um, oh no, she's a lightweight, so she's going up. Also, Alicia Baumgardner's going up to her weight, so that'd be interesting if she does fight someone like Elif Nur Turhan. Um, but yeah, there's fights with Caroline Dubois available, so it's a good weight to be at. It's pop on and popping up there, so interesting times. But yeah, good to hear some news with Alicia Baumgardner. I know Ellie Scottney posted recently. She said she got news coming, so I imagine she's going to be fighting for the undisputed title um, in her weight class. So yeah, look for the news for that. That will be on MVP for sure. But it's great to see Ellie doing well, getting the money, getting the success. She's from my old club, Lin AC. I remember her first day in the gym, and she's just doing herself really, really, and her family really proud. So much respect to her. Let's get some other news. One second. Um, we've got Gabriela Fundora versus Alexis Kubici is on tonight. Both weighed 110 points. Fundora weighed 110.2 pounds. Alexis weighed 110.6 pounds. That's crazy. They're able to weigh that little. Well, especially Gabriela, her height. Um, Also, Fraser Clark. So we've got some little exclusive news here. Fraser Clark versus. Oh yes, Saj. How's it going, man? Big ups, big up, Sajid. Always showing love. Big up, Philip Hansa. Come on, the set. Some exclusive news here. So Fraser Clark versus TKV. I know that was meant to be set for the 25th, no, 27th of September, something like that. Or was it meant to be even today? Something like it's even meant to be today or next weekend. Definitely September. Um, but I did get word from TKV that that fight weren't happening. He felt it was too short notice. Um, but now it's been said that it's set for October 25th in Derby, and it'll be live on BBC. So as we know, Boxer's new contract is with the BBC, so that'll be on BBC. Um, there's been a ticket link or Ticketmaster revealing the date. It's not been announced, but the fight is set to be October 25th in Derby versus TKV and Fraser Clark. Will that be for the British title? I imagine so. That will be put on the line, as David Adelaide did vacate it, and he went and fought Hergovich last time out. So interesting fight. Who do I have winning in this particular fight? Hmm. You know, with the styles, TKV likes to get on the inside, use some of his wrestling strength background, and is a good. Both got good jabs. Obviously, Fraser Clark is well schooled, from the Olympic pedigree. Fraser is um, a bit older than TKV. Oh, going off at the top of my head, I'm gonna go with TKV on points in this one. Um, Early pick. I'll be picking um, TKV early doors. Actually, let me send a link in the chat if anyone wants to come on and have a chat about some stuff. Talk about anything you want. Any if I'm a subject I'm talking about or anything else if you want. Shout out to Skyliner, the editor. Uh, that show is so poorly promoted despite the fight being 50-50. I'm putting TKV ahead. Yeah, that's I agree. Skyliner, I'll put TKV ahead. I'll put him on points. I don't think he's gonna knock him out. He's not an explosive puncher like Wardley like that. Oh, what's going on here? What have I done? It's my comment section gone. Oh, here we go. Sag. Katie Taylor is champion in recess now by the WBC. Yes, that's at 140 though, ain't it? That's 140 or 147. Katie Taylor's champion in recess. So yeah, because she says she's taking time out, so she don't want to just hold up the set, let people get their do their thing, etc. Oh, my door upstairs is squeaking like that. Um, do 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 do. Also, in other news, yeah, Adrien Broner, man, Adrien Broner, he's not looking in a good way, is he? Recently gone on the Camerons, his podcast with Mace. Um, Ended up getting kicked off the show. Kept hollering at the one of the co-host presenters, Treasure Wilson. Um, P.S. Shout out to the sponsor, Treasure Boxing Club, for Fight Fan TV. Big up Ashley Fairfane. Um, yeah, gave him his money, sent him on his way. But then he was saying it's all love and stuff, Cameron, and then dissed him afterwards, calling him an alkie and a junkie. But he has been, this is not the first podcast he's gone on where he has been drunk, unfortunately. There was another one, was it last year or even maybe 18 months ago, where he was proper drunk. It was terrible. The people was like, how can you allow him on your show? To the fact even boxers was getting onto the show. I don't even know what show it was. Forgot the name of it. And the guys took it down in the end because it was just too embarrassing. Um, but yeah, Adrien Broner, he's been drunk, whereas before it'd be fun. He was fun. He is funny at times. I'm cooked. He's loud. He gets drunk. Um, but maybe also it's getting a bit. He's getting a bit more sloppy. He's doing it in the more inappropriate places. Obviously, if you're at a boxing show and you're lit and you're live and you're happy, he's got some bars because he's boxing orientated. But when he's on some of these podcasts, which is not really boxing orientated, it just starts to look a bit muggy, you know. Um, but he's always been a party animal. He was getting in trouble as a kid. Boxing saved his life. Free weight world champion. He's done well for himself, but he spiraled out of control, I feel, when he went on that rap tour with the tour bus. From there, it just went downhill. That's when he started losing, like the Madonna fight. Even though that was a really good fight he put up, he started coming back in towards the end. Had he not got dropped twice, he would have probably won on points, to be fair, because he won more rounds, but he got dropped twice at 2-10-8 rounds. It is what it is. But yeah, man, always showed a good chin, but the drink is taken over him. Unfortunately, he's in a bad way. I know that Tony Pugilist saw him out in Vegas for the Terence Crawford Canelo fight week, and he said he's in a bad way. He took a picture of him, but yeah, I don't think Tony was too impressed. Um, yeah, he was probably really drunk. Um, yeah, and he's like 36, but he looks a lot older, and he's looked quite old for his age for a while now. He's got his beard's really grey, and his skin just looks, doesn't look as fresh faced as he was when he was, the can man, etc. AB about billions, um, athletic bastard, etc. The stuff he used to say. Um, it's going out of Edda. Why did they bring him on the show if he's so intoxicated? It was quite obvious to see. Yeah, I don't know. Cameron said entertainment purposes. I don't know, but that's why the other podcasts they took it down in the end. But I don't know why these podcasts bring him on. If he's so drunk, they should just scrap it. Just I don't know why. Or they should at least say make a contract. Don't come here drunk. Um, but where's the people? Where's the people around him? Where's his friends? You know, I'm seeing sometimes his videos where he's making Instagram videos in the accommodations looking a bit edgy. Um, he's made millions, but he's obviously spunked a lot of it. Um, he's talking about he might need to go back to the roads. It's not good, man. Where's the boxing programs for fighters who are struggling um, post career or even in their career? He obviously needs to go to some kind of rehab because he is spiraling into descendancy very fast. It doesn't seem like he's going to be in a good place. In a few years, you might see him, I don't know, really down and out, um, because he's what 36 now. What's he going to be like at 45, 50? That's not when the career's really done. Like, where's all his friends, all the hangers on? It just shows you life's very fickle. You got to be very careful who you have around you. Um, but then you also got to blame Adrien Broner's got to take some accountability as a grown man and as an adult, as a parent. He's got loads of kids, I remember. And when he did have money, to quite a few people, they would have seen him as quite rather unpleasant. He's done shenanigans in the past where he was wiping his bum with money and putting it in the toilet. If you remember when he was in the I don't know if he was in Target or Walgreens, Walmart, one of them shops, and he was like, it's the cashier gave him some change. He was like, "Haha, I may be, I don't need no change, bruh." Threw it in the air and walked off. Yeah, it looked cool, but when you're looking back at that, it's a bit, it's like, now look, you could have done with that money. You was flushing down the toilet and that change that woman gave you. It's funny when people talk about change as well. Don't you notice what winds me up? One of my pet peeves, what winds me up, is when people owe you money, they borrow money from you, or they owe you money just in general from business or something like that. And then when you ask them for that money, they go, "Oh, why are you running me down for that change?" Hey, it weren't change when you needed to borrow it. So it ain't changed now. Stop saying it like you're trying to belittle or diminish the amount of money it is. Yeah. When you needed 20 quid for your gas and electric, it weren't change. Yeah. Why did you need to borrow change? You should have change, right? So don't start calling it, "Oh, why are you running me down for that change?" And especially also when it's like over £50, like, and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna give you that. I'll give you that change." No, it ain't change because you can't get change for anything over 50 quid. £50 is the highest note we're talking about in UK. Obviously, in America, they can go up to 99, 99, $99 or whatever. But we're here in England, yeah. 50 quid pink note is the highest one you can get. So, all right, if I give you 50 quid, you could technically, to me, that ain't change though. But you could, on the technical side, say, "Oh yeah, change," because you can get something under, change anything under 50 quid. But if it's over 50 quid, you can't be calling that change. Don't try and belittle and diminish the amount of money you owe. Yeah, that's a wind up. Yeah, that's as Dame Dash said. Now you're triggering me. Don't do that because it won't change. Otherwise, you would have paid it straight off the bat while you're starling, brawling. You see me? So yeah, don't do all that. Yes, Saj. It's not changed to the lender, exactly. But it's not changed to the borrower, otherwise the borrower wouldn't need it. You know what I mean? Don't try and belittle the money. Facts! Oh yeah, Sajid, I would have jumped on, but I'm at work, lunch break. All right, well, on a Saturday. But yeah, man, that shows you real life. Respect that. Respect that. I'm working overtime tomorrow as well, actually. Um, so yeah, man, you gotta get that money, man. It's real life out here. But yeah, as I said, he could do with that money right now. But hopefully get some help. Hopefully, people like Javante Davis, because I remember he said that last time he saw Tank. They hung out together. When he left in the cab or car, he gave him everything he had in his pocket. I read some things that about in Vegas last week that he was asking people to like get him a cab and buy him drinks. Adrien Broner. So I don't know. He seems really hard up, but I imagine he got flued out and got a free ticket to the fight. Um, but yeah, money's looking real mad right now. Um, but yeah, some of his old friends, maybe he's burnt some bridges in the past, or but I really do hope he does get okay. Maybe even if he retires from boxing, because I think that's done. But as a former fighter, etc., it would be good for the fraternity to help out, especially if you're looking at people like Ricky Hatton. We're still not sure what the circumstances are around his untimely passing, but most people are believing it's one of two things. Um, and yeah, you just need friends and help. But a lot of the time, people you can see videos of people encouraging Ricky with his drinking and stuff like that, and I'm sure a bit of marching powder was going on as well. Um, so yeah, it's people enabling in the behaviour, which spirals you into a deeper and darker place, unfortunately. So yeah, man, it's just sad, really. Philip Answer, Broner was an embarrassment on that pod, yeah. But it was even worse on the other one, I believe, the one that the man did take down in the end, because that was the terrible. Even fighters had to get onto him. That was just terrible. Um, Shout out to in the ring Christine, um, Christine, because she did a post and she said, "Love him or hate him, nobody deserves to struggle alone. If you're close to AB, check on him." I agree wholeheartedly with that. That's really good. Breaking news also. Well, is it really breaking news? But yeah, just news about the fight last week. It's reportedly that Canelo has earned $230 million with Riyadh season this year. He got $80 million for the William Skull fight, and he got 150 million for the Crawford fight. Good grief, this guy is balling. So that's what 230. He's got to make that Forbes list this year for sure. Um, and Crawford, um, well, sorry, William Skull. When Canelo got 80 million, William Skull got 10 million. That's some serious Cuban money, boy. And when Canelo got 150 million, Crawford got 40 million. That's some serious bread right there. Um, so that, yeah, they're making some good stuff. I know Eddie Hearn's got his Netflix show coming out, The Greatest Showman. So be sure to check that out also on Netflix, peeps. And yeah, we'll maybe do a little feedback thing. I haven't watched it yet. It should be coming out. Um, it's coming out real soon, actually. Forgot what day it's coming out. If someone can remind me, but I will watch it. And when I do watch it, we'll have a talk on it. Um, yeah, one thing I did say as well about the Crawford Canelo fight, I noticed that Crawford had one MX glove on and one Elite glove, the Everlast brands. They're two different, both Everlast, but two different models. So I'm not sure why that happened. When I did post about it, someone from the Everlast team contacted me and said that they made an error with the logo print. Someone in the thinking, how are you going to make an error with logo printing for a man of this magnitude? We've never made one for like a normal Saturday fight night. So someone's got to get pulled in for an investigation and disciplinary hearing. Surely, it's craziness. Um, yeah, I'm not sure about this AI computer as well, because the AI scoring had it a draw for Canelo Crawford. Very strange. Um, there's also a debate now going on uh, about who's the better fighter, who's the greater. Is Crawford better than Floyd Mayweather? Would he have beat him? Has he eclipsed him? Um, I like the way Crawford handled that. Said, don't do all that. I'm me, he's him, and just let's leave it at that. Um, what do I think? I think I'd still have Floyd winning because his cat-like reflexes. He's just so cat-like, and he's defensively responsible. Where so he wouldn't be getting lured in to, coming forward and getting countered by Crawford. I know Tim Bradley was on one, but Tim Bradley sparred Crawford and got lit up. So he's going to have that bias. He's never been in, I don't believe he sparred Floyd before. Um, but yeah, Floyd's very rapid with the jab, with the jabs to the body, the pull count, the reflexes out. Even Canelo was making Crawford miss a lot. Crawford, as good as he looked, when you look at some of the punches, they were slower than usual. So age is definitely setting in, and obviously the weight, because there was some punches were slow, which he was firing, which Canelo was able to make him miss quite widely, you know. And I'm sure Floyd would definitely, um, especially you're talking about a pretty boy Floyd, but even a Money Mayweather, because both of them in their later years, Floyd was still, that guy. So yeah, I'd have Floyd winning, and it's especially at 135 and 140. If you're talking 147, that's when it would be really, real competitive and 50-50. Um, yeah, but 154, well, we only saw Crawford there once. We saw Floyd there twice. Um, Crawford didn't knock anyone out at 154. Didn't knock anyone out at 168. But yeah, Madrimov and Canelo, they both haven't been floored or knocked out. So, you can't really say, oh, no power. Because it's annoying when people say that. But it's like, have these guys been knocked out before? Have they been stopped before? Have they been floored before? If not, then it just means they got granite chins and you just couldn't put them on the floor. But if they have been knocked down before or knocked out before at least, um, and you haven't, then you can make an argument about the power. Is it there when you're going up in weight? But yeah, man, I still got Floyd ahead. People are just trying to style on Floyd because they don't like his personality, so they're just trying to, style on my man. But don't do that. Don't do that. His Skyline. Canelo needs to retire and just go play celebrity golf. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He can now. In the boxing years, he's very old. Dog years. He's been pro 20 years. He started at 15 pro. 35 now. That's a long time. He's had what, nearly 70 fights. In this modern day, to have 70 fights, that's a load of fights, man. And he's been in a lot of big fights, big nights for a very long time since he was like 22, 21. He's been, you know, main eventing and stuff like that. So yeah, man, maybe it is time to just sail off or just have the one last, oh no, hurrah in Mexico against someone not too mad and just say your farewells. People forget Pretty Boy Floyd era where he was a more dangerous fighter. Yeah, they do. But remember, most people didn't watch Pretty Boy Floyd. Most of these people started watching Floyd and knew about him when he was fighting Ricky Hatton. Let's be real. Let's be honest. That's when they started watching Floyd, when he was fighting Ricky Hatton. They weren't watching Pretty Boy Floyd. They didn't watch Gennaro Hernandez. They didn't watch Diego Corrales. They didn't even watch Castillo fights. They just heard about it and they go, oh, he lost, he lost, he lost. Because they're just screaming for the sake of screaming. They didn't watch him fight Angel Manfredi. They didn't watch him fight Emmanuel Augustus. They didn't see him fight Justin Juco. You see what I'm saying? They didn't see him fight um, Sean Bay Mitchell. They didn't see him fight Demarcus Chop Chop Corley. They didn't even watch the Gatti fight. the Otoragati fight. They didn't watch the um, what's it, Philip Endo fight with the four straight right hands. Come on, man, they weren't watching all that. They weren't watching Floyd. They didn't know about Floyd them times. You know what I mean? I remember them times. And I remember when people started getting onto the getting to know how, because when they first started knowing about him around that Ricky Hatton time, because they didn't know about him and they knew Ricky Hatton, and Ricky Hatton was blasting everyone body shots and going on the body belt with Billy Graham. They all had Ricky Hatton as a favorite. The amount of money me and Tunde Ajayi made on that Floyd Mayweather Ricky Hatton fight is ah. I'm sure I spoke about it with Tunde online, but if I haven't, we will go into it. But one day next, I'll talk to him. But the amount of money we made, we cleaned up. We made so much, made over £1,000 each in bets, side bets, just normal side bets, because they didn't know. They thought Ricky, oh, because obviously he's going to be too big, too strong. I don't know how he's going to keep me off him. He's coming up in weight. He's a small man. He's 135, 140, lightweight, super feather. He started off at super feather. He started off at 130. Let's keep it real. So they're thinking Ricky Hatton, big, blows up. Full English, bulldog. They thought he was gonna, be too strong and too powerful, too mauling for Floyd. They all had him. They had him as a favorite. Let's be real, but they don't remember. They're gonna act like they're gonna rewrite history. They're going to try and respawn. But no, I remember, and Tunde can attest to this. Facts, I'm telling you. So they weren't watching Pretty Boy Floyd. They saw Floyd first when he fought Ricky Hatton. Facts, most of them. Even a couple of them have even said, even admitted online that they first. I think even Bay said that he really started watching Ricky Hatton or something like when the Floyd fight. So that's when it got the interest of a lot of people. Um, and Floyd became on their radar, but they weren't watching them early fights. Come on, man. So that's why they're just trying to style. And even with the Terence Crawford, a lot of them ain't even watch Terence Crawford's fights like that. Most of them jumped on to watch Errol Spence. They may have seen that. I don't even think they watched the Black BLK Black Prime with Avenetian. They probably watched the Sean Porter fight, Errol Spence fight, and the Canelo fight. Um, some of the older ones would have watched Ricky Burns, but most of these guys didn't watch the Ricky Burns fight, Terence Crawford. They didn't watch the Evangelist Kavalauskas Mean Machine. They didn't watch Victor Postal fight. They didn't watch these things. They didn't watch none of that. They didn't watch him fight Jeff Horn. You know what I'm saying? They didn't watch him fight the African brother that he knocked out in a round with a body shot. The tall brother. His name always slips my bloody mind. It's so annoying. But yeah, they didn't watch none of that fight, man. They didn't even watch Gamboa fight. So they just come on. People just tried to sound cool, but they weren't really in it like that. Let's keep it triller, man. I discovered Floyd when he fought Castillo. Which one? Number one or number two? Um, so yeah, man. People just trying to do their thing, but let's get into some other news. Errol Spence has been sparring Maurice Hooker, looking in great shape. He looks in good shape for a while now, and he's been rooted and rumored that he's going to be fighting um, Jamel Charlo um, in his return next year. So that'll be interesting. As both was trained by Derek James. Anything else? So much news. Yeah, Adam Azim, he signs a new deal with Boxer. He's re-signed, and he's going to be on the undercard of Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. So that's really good. People were thinking that a load of the fighters was going to just run off and leave Ben Shalom, but Ben Shalom, he's showing he's not a punk. He's still fighting for his fighters, fighting for his respect and his cards, and he's not going out without a fight. So respect to him. Adam Azim is a good fighter to keep acquired, but maybe he might be you having him on, loans here and there on certain shows, uh, his own shows for Frank Warren, Queensbury, Matchroom, elsewhere. I don't think he's going to be putting him on BBC two times. I think he's probably maybe the certain terms and conditions. I don't know, but maybe he want the bigger fights. It's not going to be able to get broadcasted on BBC. So, but he's got him. He's got him signed still, so that's good. Any more stuff? Obviously, we know Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker. They're doing their thing. That's coming up. Um, yeah, Steffi Ball. And I've reported on the Instagram, but yeah, Steffi Ball has been given 10 years a prison sentence for his conspiracy to supply the coca leaves, the marching powder. At first, he pleaded not guilty to the charges, but later admitted his involvement, um, from his gym in his house during the pandemic when he fell on hard times. 10 years, so that he'll have to do what? Because you normally have to do two thirds, so 3.5, 7. He'll have to do about 7.5 years, or about 7 years. Yeah, he'll have to do about 7 years at least. With good behavior, he'll be out in 7 years. But yeah, um, so that's yeah, that's a shame. I don't know if that's his first offence, but more than likely. Um, Anything else? 1 second. Got a few things I've bookmarked. Oh yeah, we've got confirmed now. Naoya Inoue, he's having his next fight in December the 27th. So that's the day after Boxing Day. As he always does normally have a fight around that time between Boxing Day and New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Inoui's schedule's always fighting around that time. I don't know if there's some kind of special thing out in Japan where they like these fights around that time, but he always fights every year around that time. So yeah, he's fighting the day after Boxing Day, the 27th of December in Riyadh against Alan Picasso. But this time it's out in Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure if they're going to accommodate um, the Japanese fight fans' times, because normally that does come on around, for us anyway, in the UK, that comes on GMT. The main event's usually about midday, 12 midday, and the show normally starts about 8 in the morning, 8 a.m. So I'm not sure the timings of that. I know that the Turkey Al Sheikh and the people of Saudi Arabia, they want to bring tourism, so hopefully that does bring some tourism, because the Japanese fans, they do really like their boxing, and they sell out these big arenas, massive capacity attendance arenas for the Japanese cards, especially guys like Inui or Nakatani or Kenshiro Taraji and Satsumi and them kind of guys. So I imagine they will come out in droves and get on a plane and support their guys, because he has got on the card Junto Nakatani, because this is called the Ring 5 Night of the Samurai. So the main event is Naoya Inoue versus Alan Picasso. Then you have Junto Nakatani versus Sebastian Hernandez. So you never get them two on the same card, Inoue and Nakatani. But this is obviously to set up a collision course for them next year, which I'm really looking forward to. And as I've said for from time now, I have Nakatani beating and dethroning Naoya Inoue. I'm picking him to win when they do fight. So yeah, Junto Nakatani's fight Sebastian Hernandez. You've got Kenshiro Taraji versus Wilibaldo Garcia for the IBF 115-pound title. You have Hayato Tsutsumi versus Jazza Dickens for the WBA lightweight title, and that will be on the undercard as well. So yeah, you've got both Satsumis on there. You've got Ryota Satsumi versus Leonardo Quintana. You have Hayato Satsumi versus Jazza Dickens. You have Junto Nakatani versus Sebastian Hernandez. You have Tiger Imanga versus Armando Martinez, and obviously you have Kenshiro Taraji versus Wilibaldo Garcia. Yeah, so that'd be really good. Um, you know, some people might say, "Oh, why are you taking it to Riyadh?" But as Ring IQ said, there's been historical fights in. So shout out Jules. There's been historical fights in various places. You've had Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas in Japan. You had Muhammad Ali versus George Foreman in Congo, Zaire. You had that was Rumble in the Jungle. You had Thriller in Manila, Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. But also, and I mentioned it, to Ring IQ Jules as well. I said even most people don't even remember or don't realize that even George Foreman versus Joe Frazier was in Kingston, Jamaica. That was in Jamaica. Imagine you had George Foreman and Joe Frazier fighting in yard in Jamaica. Historical fights. So historical fights have been going on, all over the place, man. So yeah, man, and they're doing. You got, this spat saying Anthony Joshua's going to be fighting in Ghana next year in January or February. So you've got a show coming up with Brandon Glanton against Marcus Brown in Nigeria. I know that Dan Aziz is on that card. Recently, you had a show in Ghana where you had O'Hara Davis um, on there, and Andrew Tabiti was on there. So fights are going out to West Africa, So yeah, man, it's all good stuff. It's good to see. It's good to have fights in other places, not just you know get people to showcase the talent. When you look at F1 and stuff, they don't just do it in one place. They go do the tour, the whole thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Even you have the US Open, you have the French Open, you have the Wimbledon, for tennis. So these things are meant to go around. You're meant to, you know, pass the parcel. Athletics, Olympics, Commonwealth Games. So yeah, why shouldn't boxing, guys from certain places not fight um, out in other locations? Don't have to just be, the what do you call it, the normal status quo. Mix it up a bit. Even UFC, they do their stuff in Abu Dhabi and things like that. Skyline editor. I saw Mayweather Castillo 2 as it was pushed heavily on Sky Sports after the controversy of the first fight. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it was on Sky Sports. I remember watching that, the rematch, at my uncle Raymond's house in the morning. Um, I'm sure it was around the time. Was it was either it was a push give or take. It was either around the next day or a week after. Um, it was around the time when Roy Jones fought John Ruiz and won that heavyweight title. So I remember it was around that because I remember I watched that fight at my uncle's in the night, and I remember seeing the Floyd Castillo 2 fight at his house not long after. Um, I remember watching that as well. So it was around that time. Um, let me go to Boxrec just to check this out. So because I remember it was around that time. I don't even remember what year it was. Um, Roy Jones Jr. So he fought uh, John Ruiz on the first. Oh, but they do these things a bit backwards, don't they? Um, no, here it is. Yeah, no, is it 25th? Yeah, so the 1st of March, 2003, at the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, was uh, Roy Jones versus John Ruiz, right? Um, yeah, that had Marmek, Jean-Marc Marmek, Winky Wright, Fres Crescendo, Lehman Brewster. Okay, so that was the 1st of March 2003. That was Roy Jones, John Ruiz. Now, Floyd Mayweather. So 1st of March 2003. All right. So let me just see when this Castillo 2 fight was on, because I'm sure it was around that time. Uh, Castillo. No, no. See, it was a few months before. That's it. I knew it was around that time. That's it. They had a rematch because the first fight was the 20th of April 2002, and the rematch was the 7th of December 2002. So it was 3 months before Roy Jones fought Castillo in the rematch. Yeah, I remember it was around that time. I remember because them times we were doing the fight nights heavy um, at my uncle Raymond's house, which is Craig Richards' dad. It's my uncle, who's my uncle Raymond is my mum's big brother. So yeah, that's how me and Craig are cousins. So yeah, my mum and his dad are brother and sister. His dad's my mum's older brother. So yeah, so I remember it was around that sort of time. But for years we were always watching fight nights and boxing. Stay up mad late, 5 in the morning. That's why I can stay up mad late easy when a fight night's on 4, 5, 6 in the morning. There's nothing, people conking out left, right, and centre to me, and I'm just there, ready. But yeah, great times, man. Eating the jerk chicken, hardo bread. That was the diet. That was the meal. That was the food. The stay up, and then yeah, obviously I was boxing them times, so there was definitely no alcohol for me. There was no alcohol for none of us anyway. Yeah, me, Craig, my brother, um, my cousin Charlie and Jody. Yeah, we just like fizzy drink and jerk chicken and hardo bread, man. that was yeah, that was the days, man. Um, I would say Mayweather became a superstar after he fought Oscar De La Hoya. That's when he really became the guy. Yeah, because he was the B side in the Oscar De La fight. He had to go up to his weight. Oscar chose his gloves. Um, Oscar was always being paid more. I remember Oscar got um, 30 million for that fight, and Floyd got I think 10. So yeah, um, and he was always Floyd was always playing second fiddle to guys like Oscar De La Hoya out on the top rank, which he wasn't happy about. Hence he eventually did buy himself out of the contract because he always felt he was being undermined. But it's similar to what happened with Terence Crawford. He was always being undermined by Lomachenko, you know, and Manny Pacquiao. And Bob Arum did his best to keep Terence away from Manny Pacquiao, um, just like he probably kept Floyd away from Oscar because Floyd was calling that Oscar from time. People talk about, oh, he tries to get him late. No, he was calling him out. He called out Shane Mosley. He called out Oscar. He called out loads of these guys. And they didn't want it. You know, big risk, little reward in notoriety because Floyd wasn't super popular. Like that. Popular in the Michigan area, but if you're talking about like Madison Square Garden or um, MGM, Caesar's Palace, even when he went to the Broadwalk Hall in Atlantic City, that was all Gatti fans in there. Gatti was the main guy in that fight, and Floyd smashed him up. But so yeah, he was playing second fiddle in the background for a long time, and that's probably why he had a bit of a bee in his bonnet when he finally did become the man. It's kind of like a brother, a brother in school who weren't that guy. He weren't that guy. He weren't popping. He weren't getting things. He weren't getting no gal. Gal was fobbing him, mugging him, chiefing him. You know what I mean? He weren't getting the love. He weren't that guy. Maybe his clothes weren't that. He weren't fly. He didn't have the talk. He didn't have the aesthetics. Um, but then when you get older, you get a bit older. People start going into the big wide world. He gets a good job, or he might start trapping, might start hustling, 419 or something. Basically, he's getting bread now. He's getting money, whether it's illicit or illegal. All of a sudden now, when he does start getting girls, oh yeah, yeah, shake your ass, bitch, yeah, come here, starts, strong arming things, getting a bit rugged, you know, has a bit of vitriol. You can see that bit of vitriol in a man's face. So you see some of these men on these podcasts, you can see the way they behave towards gal. You can tell they weren't getting gal back in the day. You can tell they weren't. You could tell they're new to this. It's new booty. You know what I mean? They weren't, but a lot of because it's funny. Sometimes you see certain men with certain things and they're really excited. And I'm like, they don't even realize these are me and the man them. That's our throwback Thursdays. Come on, man. But, it reminds me of that. When you finally do become or make something of yourself, then you start having that sort of resentment, that sort of bitterness, and you take it out on the people, on the very demographic or set of people that you thought was not giving you no love, and or bullied you or chiefed you or just was just not respecting you, not rating you, you know. So Floyd, he gives off some of that energy, um, where he was in the background so long. So now finally he's the lead singer. He's just going on wicked with it and just throwing it in people's faces. Uh, Back in the day, they had a presenter called Ian Dark. Yeah. Ian Dark and Glenn McCorry were my favorite combo commentators. Glenn McCorry, Ian Dark. They were like, people talk about Adam Smith, like they like his voice, good voice and that. Yeah, he's serious. I like his voice. But when you're talking about the combo pack, Ian Dark, Glenn McCorry, yeah, they, yeah, them two, Premier, yeah. But yeah, sorry, I'd Ian Dark, like an old English guy. He was a very good presenter, TV boxing host. Like, I don't know what happened to that guy. Well, he's probably old, isn't he? Probably retired from it, innit? I know Glenn McCorry got into a bit of hot water for something. I forgot what it was. But yeah, him and Ian Dark and Glenn McCorry were the man when it comes to that commentary thing. That it's hard making you do things. It's hard when you what's it when you're doing the right things and it's not working. It's hard doing the wrong things. It was what said. You know what it's saying, Ian? It's looking like the ref's gonna. Glenn McCoy's got that deep Scottish voice. And Ian Dark, he's like, Hannah's got him. He's yeah, them two, that combo, that was dream team. Whereas Adam Smith don't have the dance partner ever to bounce off with him. He is proper like like you see with Ian Dark, Glenn McCorry, they're more like take that. Like, yeah, you've got a lead, but you've got multiple man in that group who could go off and have very successful solo careers, like i.e. Um, Robbie Williams. Then you got Gary Barlow. But remember, back in the day, in their primes, remember Mark Owen was seen as the main guy. He was the poster boy. He was the girl sugar. He was the heartthrob. But it's funny, he didn't even go off and have a really massive solo career. Like, he didn't have no massive solo career. It was the Gary Barlow, Robert Williams. Them man went off and went in. But they're like a Gary Barlow, Robbie Williams, them two. Whereas um Adam Smith, he's yeah, I can't think of a group. But he's a one man band really. You cannot recall the co commentator anything they say because they're not memorable. None of them can hang with him. It's just he's eclipsing them. So it's a shame he doesn't have that dance partner to bounce off. Because when you talk about Ian Dark, he had Glenn McCoy, and them two they were going in on that commentary. But yeah, big up Skynider because that shows. I like that. That shows you know your stuff. You definitely know your stuff. You was around. You was watching boxing, man. Um, I did report about the Billy Joe thing. Wait, let me go to the Instagram page because some of this I might give more context. Um, so Billy Joe, former two division world champion, Billy Joe was banned from keeping dogs for 5 years after being caught hare coursing near Peterborough. Saunders must complete 60 hours of unpaid work. Four men drove hundreds of miles or whatever to kill hares and stuff like that. Billy Joe, Maurice John, some old guys, and there was one other younger guy. But what all that to say, I've heard from someone inside Scoop who's from around his way his original area, Cheshunt, where he used to box and be a trainer at Cheshunt ABC. Because I was even talking to him saying, "Oh yeah, so like Ashley Sexton, Tom Dallas. I even fought a guy from your club, Paul Paddock. Me and him had a great war. Obviously, I'm not going to say obviously, but yeah, I won the fight on points. But that was a great war, man. I really had to go into Plan B to turn that fight around because the first round, my man, I soon realized in the first, this guy's too fast. This guy is beating me to the punch. Every time we're fighting together, he's beating me to the punch. I'm like, no, he's beating me to the punch. He's winding me up. So I really had to go to Plan B, and yeah, the Plan B worked, but yeah, hard graft, very, very long shift that one. So big up Paul Paddock. But yeah, I heard that there's some footage going on the dark web that afterwards, the reason why Billy got arrested is that apparently he hit someone. I don't know if it was an officer or something. I forgot what the guy said, but he hit somebody with a double left hook, one to the head, one to the body, one to the head, or something. And yeah, he's going to be in big trouble. So I'm not sure how true that is, but this is what a guy said, and he's from Billy Joe's area. Yeah, I ain't going to say the brother's name, etc. But that's what I've heard. So if there is any updates or stuff like that, then yeah, you know where you heard it first. Because this is what I was told. Um, any other news? Oh, hold on. Let me go to the Instagram. What's going on here? Any other news? No, there's no other news. So anyone want to come in quickly, talk for a bit? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Let me send a link in the chat one more time. You want to talk about anything in particular? Give you, if anyone don't come in within 60 seconds, look at the alarm going off. Gonna need my nap. So in a bit, but I will stay on for another 10 minutes if someone jumps on. So I'll give it 35 seconds. But yeah, no, but if you don't jump on, but in the meantime, please make sure you subscribe to Fight Fan TV Live. Those who are watching on the playback, hit that. There's a thing called hype boost. You know where the comment section is, and there's a swipe thing. You swipe to the left, and there's a hype boost, and it gives you points. I don't know what it does. I think it helps with the algorithm. But yeah, hit that boost, give me some points and stuff like that. It helps. It's free, by the way. So hit that hype boost thing for me. Subscribe, share the video, um, leave comments in the comment section as well. Uh, yeah, and also subscribe to, follow the TikTok page, please. Fight Fan TV Live, please, guys. So follow the TikTok page, Fight Fan TV Live, because I want to get up. It's growing bit by bit, but I don't think I've really advertised it too much. But yeah, start following that because I will start trying to do some lives on there. I did do a live watch along whilst on here, but I also had the TikTok live going, and I had Eric Maconzo and another guy in there. I forgot who it was, but that was really good. But I noticed that there's a lot of good interactive conversations on various different topics with people on there. So that's a space where people do really good lives and just general convo. Some people are sitting on there all day like it's like it's their job, like it's their occupation or something. But yes, follow the Fight Fan TV Live on TikTok because I want to start growing that so I can start doing some lives on there and getting interactive. You guys can send me some gifts and blah blah, and we can have some. And you can get more people in the chat at once because I know on Instagram it only lets me get 3 other people, but on there you can get like a roster of people. So that would be really cool. Um, yeah, follow the Instagram page. I think most of you are following it already, to be fair. But yeah, follow that TikTok page. Also follow the uh, TwitX page, which is Twitter/X. That is Danny Glover FFTV. And there you have it. It's Danny Glover from Fight Fan TV Live, proudly sponsored by Treasure Boxing Club. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.